guys, Yoongi here, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the types of K-pop stans to avoid. So we're going to be discussing the sorts of red flag behaviours or traits that some K-pop fans may have which would make me choose to avoid them where possible. Now I could spend like 10 minutes throwing out every single disclaimer under the sun here because I'm sure some people will take some of these comments very personally, but I'll try and make these quick. Please note that these are just my opinions and the types of fans that I usually try to avoid. I'm not trying to influence you at all or who you choose to associate with. That is your decision. The videos on screen in this video are purely just a visual aid so you guys have something to look at while I'm talking. I'm not trying to be shady and call out any specific fandoms or anything. And on a kind of similar note, I'm in no way intending to send any hate or encourage any hate towards any artist, individual or fandom, etc. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. First up, fans who gatekeep certain members of groups, often their own bias. This word gatekeep gets thrown around a lot on the internet, so for those who aren't aware, the simplest explanation of gatekeeping is the way in which somebody is able to control or limit access to something. So when we apply this word to the K-pop world in particular, what I mean by this is that sometimes some fans decide to restrict the amount of care and attention other fans are able to give to certain members of groups. More often than not, this usually applies to their own bias. These types of people really don't want anybody to love and bias the same person as they do, so they try to do everything in their power to stop them from doing so. It sounds crazy, but that's because it is. And I personally just cannot deal with the idea of this. It's very, very immature to pretty much hide a member of a group you like from people, to not allow them to like the same person just because you like them. Wouldn't you want your favourite member of a group to get more love and attention so they know they're appreciated? Why do you want them to only have your love only? It's giving insecurity on the playground, like, you know, when your friend gets another friend, that sort of thing. I shouldn't even have to say it, but it's really important to remember that none of us own any of these people, and at any one time, there will be a lot of people who like the same member of a group as you. I actually kind of like it personally when I meet somebody and discover they're a fellow Yoongi stan, for example. It feels nice that you have somebody you can level with, somebody who understands why you appreciate this person so much. Next up, let's talk about the K-pop fans who only stan boy groups or girl groups, but not both, and make it very known that they hate all groups of the opposite gender. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being only a girl group stan or only a boy group stan. We all have our own tastes and preferences when it comes to music, and nobody's expecting you to love everything you hear within the genre. Although I'm very multi-stan myself and love both boy groups and girl groups, I have many friends who only listen to one or the other, but that's not an issue because, like a lot of people, they're pretty chill about it. However, we really can't say the same for everybody. Of course, there's always a minority that ruins it for the majority. So in this point in particular, I'm talking about the fans of one or the other who are very hateful towards every single group of the opposite gender that they listen to. And not gonna lie, they're kind of weird about it. Because say for example, if they're a boy group stan, these fans I'm talking about really do hate every single girl group, no matter what they do or what they release. They'll make it known that they hate them. Of course, this works both ways. You can get the super toxic girl group stans who will straight up refuse to acknowledge anything released by a male group unless it's in a hateful way. If you're active on K-pop social medias such as Twitter or TikTok, you may have come across these types of fans. That's where I've seen them anyways. And it passes a point of disliking something, which we all can do, providing you do it in a respectful way. And it crosses over to a dangerous area where you're just being straight up sexist. And I absolutely refuse to associate with anyone who thinks that's okay. Next up, on quite a similar note, another type of K-pop stan I choose to avoid is fans who solo stan one member of a group only and then proceed to hate on their fellow group members. Again, I understand having a bias in a group who you favour more than others. Nobody's expecting you to love and adore all the members of a group the same amount. But I simply cannot wrap my head around the idea of picking one member of a group you like more than others and then directing hate towards their own group mates. How can you call yourself a fan of a group or an idol when you act like this in their own front yard? I can absolutely guarantee the member you are biasing will not condone this or appreciate you directing any hate towards their fellow group members. If they ever knew that their own so-called fans were saying things about their fellow group mates, I can guarantee it would make them extremely uncomfortable because their peer has done nothing to deserve that level of disrespect. Like I said, if you prefer a certain member of a group more than the others, that's fine, but do not then take out your frustrations on other group members if they get more lines in a song or more screen time in a video, for example. There is no need whatsoever to mistreat other members of a group with the excuse of supporting your fave, because at the end of the day, you're not supporting them, you're probably just embarrassing them. The next type of K-pop stans I will avoid at all costs are fans who stan underage idols and then begin to treat them differently the second they become of age. Yeah, you know exactly what I mean. I have to include this one even though it makes me feel icky because it's important, and I don't know how to talk about this one without gagging because it's gross. And unfortunately, it happens a lot. So, as we all know, a lot of K-pop idols do debut quite young and are often underage when they make their debut. I don't want to tell people that they can't stand somebody just because they're 16 or 17 or whatever. If you're simply biasing an idol because you like their personality or you think they're super talented, but yeah, they're kind of young, you know this doesn't apply to you. Nope, we're talking about the K-pop stans who claim to like these younger artists for the reasons that I mentioned above, but then they literally, the day they turn of legal age, and it is that quickly sometimes, I'm not kidding, they suddenly think that is an invitation to immediately start over-sexualizing them. Surely I don't have to explain why this is wrong, but I will, because there's always going to be someone who wants to say, well, they're an adult now, what's the problem? The problem is that there are 3 characteristics to these types of fans that they will always have guaranteed. They're always older than these younger idols, sometimes quite significantly older as well. They always act like what they're doing is absolutely fine, and they're always transparent as hell. This sort of behaviour proves to all of us that you have literally waited for this moment. You have waited until this young person has become of legal age to start sexualising them because you know it's inappropriate to have behaved this way towards them as a younger person. But now that they're of this quote-unquote legal age, you're suddenly speaking about them publicly in such a crude way because you can't be punished or berated for doing so. There is no way in hell you have suddenly decided that you see them this way today, on their 18th birthday. But you never thought that way before and you only liked them for the talent as a singer a day ago. None of us are seeing that as the truth. We all know better. And it doesn't sit right with me at all, I'm afraid. So yeah, I will be avoiding you as well. Next up, let's talk about K-pop fans accusing fellow fans of being fake for not purchasing merch or streaming music. Again, the year is 2022 and this is still something that happens. I remember this being a thing when I first got into K-pop and it's still happening now. I'm seeing it on social media. For some people, they have chosen to literally revolve their entire life around K-pop. So for them, that means streaming every single thing their faves release, buying every piece of merchandise, attending every single concert where possible, etc. But I do often feel like some of these fans doing this forget that that is the decision they have made. That is the life they have chosen, and you really cannot expect everybody to live the same way. For a lot of K-pop fans, K-pop is just a genre of music that they enjoy and listen to on their way to and from school or their second work shift of the day at job number 2, they have a bit of music on. A lot of K-pop fans do not have the time or disposable income to devote their entire lives to K-pop. And I'm personally absolutely fine with that because I resonate with it. If I can buy my faves album or go to their concert, that is a luxury for me, which is usually quite expensive. But some fans really don't think there's an excuse for not buying your faves music or streaming their songs for 12 hours a day to help them get number 1 in another chart. And when a fan is really pushy with their expectations of other fans, I have to step away from it and ignore those kinds of tweets or whatever. Of course, I want my faves to do well, and I will vote for them on an award they're nominated for when I get the chance to do so. But I can't prioritize that over, I don't know, going to work so I can pay my bills perhaps. If BTS don't win another VMA, for example, they'll get over it. If I don't go to work and get paid, I won't meet my rent and I'm not going to enjoy living on the streets, you know? Basically what I'm trying to say is, please try to be respectful and remember each other's situations, especially when you're yelling at people on Twitter for not streaming or being more of a casual listener. And last but not least for today's video, another type of K-pop fans I choose to avoid are troll fans. I will elaborate on this further. By troll fans, I mean the types of K-pop fans where they leave you literally beginning to question if they even like K-pop at all, because they're one of the most annoying type of fans you will ever come across. I know you get trolls everywhere on the internet, but these types of fans who will literally just reply to everything with a comment about a completely unrelated topic, saying like, stan whoever, or this wouldn't have happened if you'd have stanned this group. Nobody cares about insert random very unrelated topic, we only care about blah. These quote-unquote fans always seem to pick and choose the absolute worst moments to comment these kind of things I've just mentioned. For example, in the replies of like an RIP hashtag on Twitter or in an important Instagram post trying to raise awareness for something. I know that all the K-pop pages on Facebook are kind of like absolutely plagued with these sorts of fans. I don't have an issue ignoring these fans. I always avoid them at all costs. I mean, you have to because they thrive off of the attention and they're just not worth getting into it with. There's absolutely no use in trying trying to reason with a brick wall, you know? But my main issue with these kinds of trolls is that they're pretty much disguising themselves as K-pop fans when the furthest thing from it, and they end up giving certain fandoms and K-pop stans in general a really bad reputation, especially when they're mass commenting disrespectful things on conversations outside of the K-pop world. We're familiar with them and know not to take anything they're saying as serious, but the only exposure that people who aren't into K-pop are having of K-pop fans, and this fandom for example in particular, are the absolute worst images possible. And to top it off, these are the people that none of us would claim within our fandom. It is extremely frustrating at the end of the day. So for obvious reasons, these are the fans that I try to stay away from. Okay guys, and that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far. I've purposely only spoke about like 6 types of fans in this video just because I knew it was going to get too long if I started ranting, and I already have a list of more types of K-pop stans I'd rather avoid ready and waiting for me to do a part 2 of this, so let me know if you'd like to see that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with any of these? Are there any more kinds of K-pop fans you'd like to say you would avoid? If you are new here and haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell. That'll let you be the first to hear whenever I upload. And as always, my social medias will be on screen. That is my Twitter and my Instagram. I always follow back fellow K-pop stans, so let's be friends. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys!